right, Shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all glory, honor, and praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. All right, double honors to the apostles and elders at GMS. Peace, honor, and respect to you brothers that's out there laboring, edifying, rightly dividing the word, in truth and sincerity. And Shalom to you believers out there, the Akim wa Akwathium. So, what I wanted to get into right now is going into the parallels of our fall and rise, just like the story of Joseph. All right, and if you know the story of Joseph, then you know that he was sold into captivity by his brothers, but he rose to power in a land where he was actually in captivity. All right, and it's a similar story because Israel, we were sold into captivity, but we're gonna rise to power. Basically it's going to be in the kingdom, all right, in the kingdom of heaven, which will be on earth, all right, but we're coming into our power by being obedient and coming into the good graces of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah, man. This is like us rising into power, okay? So I just wanted to go into that story, all right? So I got a couple precepts, and Lord willing, to be edifying, and then be, a spirit booster, all right? Because the Lord never tossed us away, all right? The Lord never, they thought he did, but he never tossed us away, all right? And, we're going to come out of this captivity, and we're going to be in power, spearheaded by our Lord Yahweh Shah, perpetually, all right? But see, nobody sees that coming, all right? Because when you go into them talking about the global powers or the next ruling people, it is always going to China or India or something like that. Israel is not considered, and I don't mean the heathens that's in the land. I'm talking about the real true Israelites. All right, if you was to tell somebody that the Negroes or Latinos, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and natives will be the next to rule, all right, they would laugh you to scorn, all right? And people would be pissed off as well. You will have certain, especially when it comes to these so-called white people, these Edomites, they would, they would be like, nah. So let's start Genesis chapter 37, all right? And I'm going to start at verse 3. It says, now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. And his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren. They hated him and could not speak peaceably unto him. All right, so I'm just reading this to let you know this is the hatred is what made his brothers conspire and to ultimately sell him to the Midianite merchants, or give him up to the Midianite merchants, and then to the Ishmaelites, and then he was handed over to the Pharaoh of Egypt. All right, but it all stems from hate, all right, because they knew that Joseph was loved more. All right, so now continuing on, in verse 5 it says, and Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it his brethren, and they hated him yet more, all right? And he said unto them, hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed, for behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose, and also stood upright, and behold, your sheaves stood around about, and made obeisance to my sheaf, all right? So here you have Joseph dreaming, all right, basically that his sheaf, and I think that's like a bundle of grain, basically was standing tall, standing upright, and their sheaves were in obeisance, all right? And I'm not going to go real deep in the story to the end, but when you in the story of Joseph, then you know that basically that was a foretelling of when Joseph rose to power in Egypt. They had to get his help, okay? They needed Joseph once again, all right? So continuing on in verse let me see. Verse 8. And his brethren said to him, shalt thou indeed reign over us, or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words. Verse 9. And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it his brethren, and said, behold, I have dreamed a dream more, and behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me. And he told it to his father and his brethren, and his father rebuked him, and he said unto him, what is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee to the earth? And his brethren envy him, but his father observed the saying. So he's given another dream, he's letting them know of another dream, all right, where his mother, which represent the moon, his father represent the sun, and 11 stars represented the other brothers, all right, which ultimately are the 11 other tribes, okay? How they, was obeisant to him, all right? And again, that was a foretelling of what they were going to need him in the future when he rose to power in Egypt, okay? So now I'm going to skip part of the story, okay? And this, I'm going down, because basically after this, Israel told him to go find his brother in Shechem, all right? Where his brother will be feeding the flocks, okay? So let me just jump down, because I just want to hit points. So now when you go to Genesis 37 and verse 18, it says, and when they saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him to slay him. And they said one to another, behold, this dreamer cometh. Come now, therefore, and let us slay him and cast him into some pit. And we will say some evil beasts have devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams. All right, so you see the brothers, they conspiring to kill him. All right, continuing on. Verse 21, and Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands and said, let us not kill him. And Reuben said unto them, shed no blood, but cast him into this pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hands to deliver him to his father again. And when it came to pass, when Joseph was come unto his brethren, that they stripped Joseph out of his coat of many colors that was on him, because he had a coat made, Israel had made him a coat, with many colors. And they hated that as well. Verse 24, and they took him and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty. There was no water in it. And they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels, bearing spicery and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. And Judah said unto his brethren, what profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh. And his brethren were content. All right, so cold-blooded, man. They was like, let's sell him into slavery, man. Verse 28, then there passed by Midianites merchantmen. Then there passed by Midianites merchantmen, okay? And they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver, and they brought Joseph into Egypt, all right? So now you see Joseph is getting into slavery, just like we came over here. I mean, we've been in many captivities, all right, as a nation, okay? But the particular, okay, as you can see, when we was, we were sold, we were on those cargo slave ships, we were sold, all right? We fled into West Africa, all right, fleeing Roman persecution, a lot of us, and then we were sold from West Africa to the America, to all over basically, but to the Americas, to North, Central, South, even into like the islands, Jamaica, Dominican, which was, I believe, was called Hispaniola, and all them little islands in there. All right, that's how we got over there. All right, that's why the tribes is scattered all over the earth, because we are the sand of the sea. But you can see, the parallels. Joseph, he being sold into slavery. We were sold into slavery. All right. So now I'm going to, because I'm going to jump, because like again, I want to skip points. All right. But see, as we was sold into slavery, we're going to rise again. Okay. Like I said, because the Lord never tosses us away. Okay. So now I'm going to jump to Genesis chapter 39 and starting at verse 1. And it says, and Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, brought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. Right. So you see, the Lord is still with Joseph. All right. Just like the Lord was up with us, even in our captivities, the Lord was always with us. That's why if you go into like the book of Judges, okay, you can see where we were in a lot of captivities during that time. But when we cried to the Lord, he always delivered us out of the hand of our enemies. All right. And just like now, we're crying upon the Lord, coming back into his good graces. Okay. And we're going to be delivered out of this captivity. Even though it don't seem like we're in a captivity, we're still in a captivity. All right. And we're going to rise to power. Okay. And we're going to be forever in power, never to go in captivity again. Okay. Because us being obedient. Okay. Because like now we're rising to power. Okay. We're not going to be, sitting at the table of the Council of Foreign Relations or build up this army to battle Esau. No. But we're rising to power by learning who we are, that we're Israelites, taking that back, claiming it. Oh, I'm from the tribe of Judah. I'm from the tribe of Asher. I'm from the tribe of Gad. We're coming into our remembrance. You got brothers teaching, preaching, okay, the word in its purest form. I'm not talking about like a T.D. Jakes or something like that. No, they're busting down scriptures. Okay, this is our rise to power right now. Okay, because before we can be kings, all right, we have to have wisdom. We have to learn, who we are and how to govern a kingdom, okay, through the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the scriptures, okay? This is our rise before our enemies, all right? Even though we're lowly. You might have a guy work at 7-Eleven, a guy work at Burger King, but guess what? That guy is going to be, he could be potentially of the 144, okay? He could be, getting your number 6 Monday through Friday, but he in the kingdom, this guy could really have rank. It don't even matter, okay? But we're rising to power, coming back into our power. How? By, learning his word in his purest form, coming back to the obedience of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. This is our rise to power. And see, we're like I said, we not considered. And that's the thing. That's the power of the Lord, because he can take the low and raise them up. Okay, just as well he can take the high and bring them down. Okay, and through the scriptures, it's plenty of examples of that. All right, just like Israel, we're at the bottom of the barrel, but we're going to be rose up to the top. Well, Esau right now in his kingdom, he's at the top and he's going to go low. All right, it's going to be a flip flop. All right, and that's the power of the Lord, because he can do that. So again, let me read Genesis 39, and I'm going to go to verse 2. And the Lord was with Joseph, okay, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. And again, I want to get that again because I'm about to go to another precept. The Lord was always with us. And just like now, examples, you have people like, even though they kind of, they wicked, like Oprah Winfrey, LeBron, Beyonce, or Prince, or Michael Jackson. All right, even in our captivity, we have some prosperity. All right, Jake we're not just, down and out. You don't see our whole nation just out on the street begging for change, okay? Because we can be in an even more destitute estate, okay? The Lord could have kept us how we were when we came over here in cargo slave ships. We could still be out there picking cotton. The Lord could have kept us in that estate. But see, what happened was he made us a little bit more prosperous as time went on. In between that, in the midst of that, I should say, Esau kingdom was weakening as time went on. See, we're coming more up, even though Jake getting more wicked and wicked. All right, but that remnant is rising up. Okay, and even the wicked, even in our lower state, you have a guy like a LeBron or a Michael Jordan, who was somewhat prosperous in our captivity. All right, and that's the parallel, because even though Joseph was in captivity, okay, he was prosperous in Egypt, okay, and we gonna get into that. So it says, and the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master. Now, when you go to Salakia, let me see something. Let me see what print. Yep. Bear with me 1 second. All right. Because, like, again, the Lord always with his people. Like I said, even in captivity, man. All right. And that shows you that, hey, we are the chosen people. Now, when you go to Malachi 3:6, what do it say? For I'm the Lord, I change not. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. See, the Lord don't change. So people saying that the kingdom is for everybody or all of that, basically the Israelites, not coming into power in the kingdom and, having salvation, that's all done away with now. Everything. No, it says Malachi 3:6 again. For I am the Lord, I change not. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob, which we know Jacob's name was changed to Israel, hence the Israelites, are not consumed. See? And that's the reason why you have like a Beyonce or Michael Jordan or Mike Tyson or all these celebs or even people that's in government or whatever that's somewhat prosperous in our captivity. Okay, that's why we not consumed, because like again, we could still be nothing. Okay, we could still, if the Lord wanted to, he could have still had us out there in the same estate we was 100, 200, 300 years ago. Okay, as far as picking cotton, calling a white man massa, okay, not looking at them no. Now you can see, a guy, he can go to college and become a lawyer and make 6 figures, okay? Now, matter of fact, let me back that up. I ain't got my pocket. Oh, yeah, I do. Here we go. Now, when you go to an Apocrypha Baruch, all right, 4 in verse 6, it says, ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction. See? Because the Lord could have just totally destroyed us. We could be an extinct people if the Lord wanted to. It could be no more Israelites. All right? Or like I said, we could just be in a state of never prospering, meaning still just in bondage, in a hardcore bondage. Okay? Baruch 4:6 again, ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because ye moved the Most High to wrath, ye were delivered into the enemies. All right? And our enemies is all these other nations. Okay? But our main arch enemy is Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. All right? But see, it said because we moved the Lord to wrath. And how do we do that? Not following the law, statutes, and commandments that was given to us, the Israelites. All right? And they was only given to the Israelites. And that's why other nations, they can't come in. How you going to come in something you was never even a part of? Okay? The covenant was never between the Most High and the other nations. It was always between the Most High, okay, and the Israelites. All right? So now going back to Genesis, And I just wanted to get that point right there in Genesis, 39. So now I'm about to skip to Genesis chapter 41. Okay, because now, Joseph, he's been in Egypt, all right, and he's found favor with Pharaoh. But see, now, he was basically, let me see something. Bear with me 1 second. I'm in Exodus. All right, he found favor. And see, even Pharaoh's wife, she wanted to sleep with Joseph, but he wouldn't do it. See, show how loyal he was. All right. He didn't do it, but so she lied on him. And when she lied, he got tossed into prison. All right. So now again, he had found his favor, and now he cast into prison for, the wife lying on him. All right. So now when you go to Genesis 49, starting at Genesis chapter 41, starting at verse 28. Okay. Because what happened was, the Pharaoh had, through some of his people, like his butler, and he threw his butler and his chief baker and his captain of his guard, he threw them in prison, and they had dreams, and they was locked up with Joseph, and Joseph interpreted his dream. Okay. So now, one of them, the chief baker, he got hung. Okay. But the chief, the captain of the guard, he was able to get out. Okay. So now I'm about to skip down to when Joseph had to interpret the dream for Pharaoh, because the chief, the captain of the guard, okay, he was like, man, oh yeah, I know somebody that can interpret a dream, and Joseph was brought forth. So let's jump to that point. All right. So Genesis chapter 41, starting at verse 28. This is the thing which I have spoken unto Pharaoh, what the Most High is about to do, he showeth unto Pharaoh. All right, and Pharaoh had a dream, it's finna go into it. Okay, verse 29. Behold, there comes 7 years of great plenty throughout all the land of Egypt. Okay, because Pharaoh had a dream of, first, he had a dream of, let me see. Oh, he had a dream of, he was sitting by the river, okay, and fat flesh and well-favored, fat flesh and well-favored, all right, came, and they fed by the meadow. And then some ill-favored and lean flesh came, okay, and then they ate up the, basically the fat flesh, okay. They ate them up. And then he had a dream about, some nice ears of corn. It was 7. And then it was 7, basically, let me see the word that they use. Yep, 7 withered and thin corns, and they, devoured the 7 fat ones. All right. So 7 beasts, 7, let me see. 7, dang, I ain't got it on me. 7 devoured the other 7. Okay. And this is what Daniel interpreted in a dream. So verse 28, it says, this is the thing which I have spoken unto Pharaoh, what the Most High is about to do, he showeth unto Pharaoh. Behold, there come 7 years of great plenty throughout all the land of Egypt, and there shall arise after them 7 years of famine. All right, and that's what them dreams meant. That's why he seen the 7 ears of the fat corn, and then the 7 ears of the fat corn, and then the 7 ears of the lean corn, and the lean corn devoured the fat corn. Okay. Verse 30, continue again. And there shall rise after them 7 years of famine, and all the plenty shall be forgotten in the land of Egypt, and the famine shall consume the land, and the plenty shall not be known in the land by reason of that famine following for it shall be very grievous. And for that the dream was double unto Pharaoh twice. It is because the thing is established by the Most High, and the Most High will shortly bring it to pass. Now therefore let Pharaoh look out a man discreet and wise, and set him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land, and take up the fifth part of the land of Egypt in the 7 years, in the 7 plenteous years, and let them gather all the food of those good years to come, and lay up corn under the hand of the Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities. And that food shall be for store to the land against the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land perish not through the famine. All right, so you can see that, they telling him like, hey, you need to, store this food, okay? And when you really go into this, you can tell what story is similar to this, all right? When you go into the book of Daniel, all right? Daniel interpreted dreams for who? Nebuchadnezzar. That's how he rose to power, all right? And you can see right here where Joseph interpreted dreams for who? Pharaoh, and this is his rise to power, all right? So that's a lesson in a lesson. All right, continuing on. Verse 37, and the thing was good in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of all his servants. And Pharaoh said unto his servants, can we find such a one as this is, a man in whom the Spirit of the Most High is? And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, for as much as the Most High has showed thee all this, there is none so discreet and wise as thou art. See? So now Joseph, once again, has found favor with Pharaoh because he can interpret a dream. Why? Because Yahweh Shem Yahushua gave him that gift. All right? Verse 40, thou shalt be over my house, and according unto thy word shall all my people be ruled. Only in the throne will I be greater than thou. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, see, I have set thee over all the land of Egypt. See, now he rose to power. And see, okay, we're going to rise to power, Lord willing, through our obedience, okay, and through our works. Okay, faith without works is dead. All right, through our faith and obedience and our works. All right, we're going to rise to power. Okay, even though all Israel is going to be saved, we're trying to be of that first fruits. We're fighting for salvation of the perilous times to come ahead. Okay, but ultimately Israel will rise to power. Okay, and the Lord is going to do what? Set us over his house. All right, because you're going to have certain men that's going to have different responsibilities. You're going to have the 144. They're going to be a governing body. Okay. And then you're going to have the 1/3. Okay. All right. And then you're going to have, guys out of the 1/3 that might be set over certain, and then they might have to, report to the 144. And then the 144 report to, King David, all the way up to, Yahweh Shah. Okay. But see, this is what we're fighting for, that incorruptible crown. And guess what? It's going to happen. All right. Lord, will I be a part of that number? And Lord, will you brothers out there who's, teaching and doing the work, you brothers be a part of that number. And Lord, will you sisters be wise to the brothers that's in power? But I will say the gospel, which when you go into the gospel, when that means good news, the good news is all Israel will be saved, all right? You're not going to have a poor Israelite in the kingdom. So even the least Israelite man going to have substance, all right? And the least Israelite woman, she's going to have a husband that's going to have substance, all right? So that's the good news. But, of course, it's going to be ranking in the kingdom. And we're going to rise to power. And Esau, Edom, is nothing he can do that can stop that. All right, nothing, none of these nations can do to stop that. No matter how much AI technology and all of that, Israel will rise to power. Why? Because it's wrote, declaring the end from the beginning. It was wrote and scripted to play out even before the earth was created. How powerful is that? All right. Because again, like I said, the Lord, he never forsook us. Okay. Even in our captivities. Okay. Even in this captivity, even when we came over here in cargo slave ships. All right. Even when we was, under the white man thumb or calling him master, he could just take our women and do that. The Lord was still with us. Okay. We was just in a punishment. But see, we were set to always come out of that punishment. Even now, we're still looked down upon. Even though you have, like I said, the LeBrons and the, Oprahs and things of that nature, we're still looked down upon and at the bottom as a nation, okay? Because we're not sovereign at all. We don't have a seat at council on a, Council of Foreign Relations or UN and EU or BRICS and, we're not in, we don't have ICBMs and things of that nature. Okay, but we got Yahweh Shem Yahushua, all right? And that's the most powerful army, the most powerful leader you could ever have, all right? And we got the real dominant Air Force and Navy, which is the angels that, navigate those chariots, all right? We got that real army, that real Navy, okay? So now when you, again, let me get it, Genesis 41 and, Genesis 41 and verse 43. Matter of fact, where did I start? I'm going to start again at 41. Oh, wait, that's where I ended up. Okay, so Genesis 41. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, see, I have set thee over all the land of Egypt. Verse 42, and Pharaoh took off his ring from his hand and put it upon Joseph's hand and arrayed him in vestures of fine linen and put a gold chain about his neck. Okay, verse 43, and he made him to ride in the second chariot which he had, and they cried before him, bowed the knee, and he made him ruler over all the land of Egypt. See, and we're going to get girded up. We're going to, just like when you go to second Esdras, what's that, the second chapter, I believe, we're going to be crowned, okay, Lord willing, okay? But it's going to be Israelites that's going to be crowned, okay? And that crown is going to be perpetual. Nobody's going to be able to come and snatch a man crown once Yahweh Shah put that crown on you, all right? Once you're given that dominion, that power, that rank, all right, nobody's going to be able to take it. You're not going to have to worry about Esau and the other nations or one of your fellow Israelite brothers conspiring to take your rank because maybe you're above him in rank or he just wants your rank to add to him. No, none of that's going to happen. You're going to forever have a crown, okay? And this is the good news. This is the real gospel. When we rise to power and get our incorruptible crown, nothing's going to be able to take that. All right. The Lord, our Lord Yahweh Shah is going to set that crown upon you. Okay. And it's going to be forever. All right. It's going to be stuck on you like crazy glue times a million. All right. So it says what? Again, verse 43. And he made him to ride in the second chariot which he had. And see, we're going to be joint heirs with our Lord. And this is, because the scriptures are manifold. And I'm just going off a spiritual perspective. He was made to ride in that second chariot. And see, that's what Yahweh Shah is going to do. We're going to be in that second chariot. Because, of course, Yahweh Shah is going to be Lord. He's going to be in that first. Okay, but he's going to bring his brothers in, his little brothers in to ride in that second one. All right. He's going to bring us in to be joint heirs. That was a part of him going up on the cross. He put on for the whole nation. All right. He showed his love for us by getting up on that cross. That was his lot. Okay. And that further showed the Lord Yahweh, the Heavenly Father, because he didn't have to send his only begotten son down here, okay, to be crucified the way he was when you go into the story, spit on, beat and all that. He didn't have to send him down here for us to be reconciled back to him. He didn't have to do that. He could have just forever left us in damnation. Okay? See, that showed the love. That's how you know the Lord, even in our captivities, was always with us. again, like I said, in America, you have certain jakes that have made a certain type of lifestyle for themselves. You know, you got millionaires jakes and billionaire jakes. Even though that's the crumbs of Esau Edom, we're still all not in a low estate like when we was over here calling a white man massa. Okay, we're not all like we're not even the poorest Israelite ain't even in that estate. Okay, he might be poor, but he don't gotta call a white man massa. Okay, a white man just can't, you know, take him and whip him in public. You know, these things are not so right now. Okay, we're in a different type of slavery. Okay, but again, the Lord has always been with us. He never forsook us. Malachi, what was that, 3 and 6? The Lord don't change. That's why we not consumed. Okay, and again, going back to verse 43. All right, and he was made to ride in that second chariot, which he had, like I said, Yahushua brought us in as joint heirs. Okay, so we gonna be in that second chariot, Lord will. Okay, I'll be a part of that number, and you too. Okay, but it will be Israelites in that second chariot. That's the good news. And they cried before him, bowed the knee, and he made him ruler over all the land of Egypt. See, and he made him ruler. Okay, wait. And he made him ruler over all the land of Egypt. Okay. Now, when you go to, you know, just reading this now just gave me another spirit booster, man. Now, when you go to Ecclesiasticus 11 and 1, what do it say? It says, wisdom lifteth up the head of him that is of low degree. Wisdom in what? The pure knowledge of the scriptures. Okay, the pure understanding of the pure wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the scriptures. All right, that wisdom is what lifteth up the head of him that is of low degree, and maketh him to sit among great men. See, and see by Joseph, you know, having that wisdom, that knowledge, and that understanding. Okay, and having that gift, he was made to sit among who? The Pharaoh. All right, which was a great man in Egypt. All right, now when you jump down to Ecclesiasticus 11 and jump down to verse 5, it says, many kings have sat down upon the ground, and the one that was never thought of have worn the crown. See, and again, that goes back to right now. If you were to tell people, oh, you know, so the Negroes, the Latinos, and the natives, they're going to be the next to rule. Okay, they're going to be the men of power. People wouldn't believe you. They would laugh you to scorn. And some people would get mad and upset, like, what you talking about, man? What? China gonna be next. India, they got 10 new nukes, and Russia making all these moves. No, but that's gonna be the shock value, okay? Because the Lord always deal with low numbers when you go into the history of the scriptures, okay? He always have taken things that were small and rose them up. Even the story of King David. King David was like the little lowly brother, but guess what? He ended up being what? King David. And King David gonna be in the kingdom. Okay, he's actually gonna be ruling under Yahushua, man. Okay. So now when you go to 1 Samuel chapter 2, all right, verse 8, what do it say? He raiseth up the poor out of the dust, and lifteth up the beggar from the dunghill. All right, and the dunghill is basically, you know, feces. All right, and lifteth up the beggar from the dunghill, to set them among princes, and to make them inherit the throne of glory. For the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and he hath set the world upon them. See, but see, he raiseth up the poor, which is the Israelites right now, okay, out of the dust, out of that confusion, and lifteth up the beggar from the dunghill. Yeah, you always hearing Jake crying out in our music, protest, things of that nature. We always got to run to other nations, mainly Esau, Edom, asking for a loan, a handout, something of that nature. Okay, and lifted up the beggar from the dunghill, all right, to set them among princes, and to make them inherit the throne of glory. And what that mean? We're going to inherit the kingdom of heaven. All right. It is our inheritance as Israelites. We're going to inherit the kingdom, the throne of glory, man. Okay? We're going to come from shit to sugar. And see, Esau, Edom, we're going to go from sugar to shit. Excuse my language. All right? See, this is the good news. All right? Just like Joseph. He went into captivity, all right, in Egypt, but he found favor. Then he was thrown into prison for like 2 years, I believe. Came home and was a ruler, second in command, right under Pharaoh, ruler of Egypt. And then all his brothers that threw him into captivity had to come back and get help. And he helped them out. See? Showing you the parallels of what's going to happen from our captivities, all the captivities we went in. Fast forward into now, this last captivity. And then we're going to be set as rulers, man, over whatever Yahweh Shem Yahushua put brothers over. All right? And see these other nations, starting with Esau, Edom, and these Ishmaelites, which is the Arabs, and these Chinese and so-called Japanese and all these other nations, what they're going to have to do? They're going to have to what? Answer to us. They're going to have to follow the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. We're going to be the head, and they're going to be the tail. Okay, we're going to have the resources, and they're going to have to get resources from us. It's going to flip-flop. Okay, see? So let me get this last one, and I'm going to close out. All right? Because, again, the Lord, he never tossed us away, man. And that's the beauty. And see, we're going to rise just like Joseph rose. All right? He was that low man, okay, in that prison. All right? He got out and went and was second command under Pharaoh. And guess what? Right now, we're in the lowest state. We counted out. We're at the bottom of the barrel. Nobody want to deal with us. But we're going to be like second in command to our Lord Yahweh Shah, man. Okay? Now, when you go, and this was already scripted and wrote, okay, before the earth was even created. And here go the proof right here that the Lord was never going to do away with his people. Here you go right here. Deuteronomy, for all you that think that Israel, you try to do that, what is that called? Replacement theology and all that? No, man. Israel was never going to be done away with. Here we go. Deuteronomy 30, starting at verse 1. And it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse. See? Okay? When all these things are come upon thee, okay? What did it say? When it shall come to pass, the blessing and the curse. See? It's already wrote. Which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whether the Lord thy power have driven thee, scattered, see, and shalt return unto the Lord thy power, and shalt obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children with all thy heart and with all thy soul. See, we're coming back. We're coming back, obeying that voice. Verse 3, that then the Lord thy power will turn thy captivity, all right, and have compassion upon thee. See, he gonna take them shackles off, and will return and gather thee from all the nations, whither the Lord thy power have scattered thee. See, and we were scattered. That was a part of the curses. And we scattered today. We everywhere. Jake in Japan, Jake in London, Jake in America, in Saudi Arabia. We everywhere. We're the sand of the sea. But see, the Lord gonna gather us back together. All right. And it's starting with this word. Then we're physically it's gonna be physically manifested. See, right now we gather through this word. But then, like again, I said, it's gonna be physically manifested. And we're gonna be together. All right. Verse 4, if any of thine be driven out unto the utmost parts of heaven, from thence will the Lord thy power Salaki. From thence will the Lord thy power gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. See, it's starting with this word, and then it's going to be a physical manifestation of that. Verse 5, and the Lord thy power will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. And the Lord thy power will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed, to love the Lord thy power with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. See, we're going to have them laws wrote into our inward parts. All right. That's going to be that new covenant. Verse 7, and the Lord thy power will put all these curses upon thy enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. So again, if the kingdom and all that was open up for everybody, who's going to be the enemies of Israel? Who will be the enemies of Israel? It's got to be enemies. All right. When you look at how these other nations do us, okay, you can see the hatred. All right. They don't have to speak one word or look at you or nothing. You can feel the hatred. Well, say you was a black man, you walk into a place where there's a whole bunch of white people. You can sometimes feel the hatred. You can sense the racism before a word is spoken or action is took. And that goes for all the rest of the other nations. You can be around a whole bunch of so-called Arabics or them East Indians or Chinese people, and you can feel the racism. All right. And I know I'm not the only brother, and that goes for you sisters as well. All right. That have been in that situation where you walk in a place with a different race and you can just feel the racism before nothing have to be said or done. You can just feel the tension. All right. See, verse 7 again. But see, those curses are going to go back. Those curses are going to be on those other nations. Starting with Esau, Edom. All right. So all what we had to endure, they're going to endure, plus double. So verse 7, and again, and the Lord thy power put all these curses upon thy enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee, and the Lord shall return and obey the voice, and thou shalt return and obey the voice of the Lord, and do all his commandments, which I command thee this day. And the Lord thy power will make thee plenteous. See, we're going to rise and we're going to be what? Plenteous, man. And the Lord thy power make thee plenteous in every work of thine hand, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy land, for good. For the Lord will again rejoice over thee for good, as he rejoiced over thy fathers, man. And this is the end game, okay, for Israel. The Lord is going to be in our favor again to the max. Okay, because he was always with us, but he's going to bestow those blessings, because we always go into the curses, Deuteronomy like 15 to 68. But guess what? We're going to be coming into those blessings, man, where he's going to make us plenteous. Okay, where it's not going to be enmity between the so-called black woman and black man, or the Latino woman and Latino man. Okay, let's just round it up to the Israelite man and the Israelite woman. Or it's not going to be beefs between the Israelite brethren. You know, that evil eye where we looking at our brother, man, what this nigga looking at our, blah, blah, blah. No more of that. We're going to have love for each other, man. We're going to have love for each other as brothers. Y'all going to have love for each other as sisters. Okay? We're going to have love for each other as husband and wife. Okay? As a whole, as a nation, as a whole. These are the blessings, and we're going to be plenteous. It ain't going to be a Israelite woman talking about, oh, these niggas ain't shit, and da-da-da-da. He not taking care of his kids. He ain't got nothing. You broke. You a bum. None of that's going to be in the kingdom, okay? When we rise to power, a man is going to be a man, and a woman is going to be a woman, okay? And that woman is going to know that her man is her security, okay? She's going to know I'm protected by this man. This man is my provider, see? And that man is going to know his woman is going to have the best intentions for him. She's going to be that helpmeet. She's going to be that submissive woman, okay? Everything is going to flow 100%. It's going to be excellent in the kingdom, man. We're going to love each other, man. And this is a part of the rise to power, see? And our kids, our children, they're going to be born and raised and see the men of their nation always in power. Okay. Even the women of their nation being classy and being mothers and good wives. See, so it's going to rub off on our children. Our sons gonna come and all they gonna see is men of their nation in power. So naturally, they're gonna come into power and it's gonna be natural for them to have a power. What I'm looking for? It's gonna be natural for them to basically know what it's like to be in power, to see how men rule. Cause see, right now our children don't see that. They see they men, if it ain't like LeBron James kids or Michael Jordan kids, they don't see a man that's have any type of status. And even with that, they don't see their father really in power like a Vladimir Putin, okay? Like a Joe Biden, or like one of these white guys who really are in power. Or even like these elite bankers, man. They kids. Imagine what their kids seeing. Imagine the little kids like the Queen of England, the Queen, okay, her funerals was today. Imagine those little kids, they just seeing that, what they're witnesses to, seeing their great grandmother in a power, their great grandfather, and then their fathers and grandfathers in that power seat. So if they was to rise to power, it would be natural for them, because that's all they know is they people in power. But see, when we rise to power, that's what all our children's gonna know. So our son, they're gonna have that mindset like I'm gonna be in power. Versus now, your kids, your children, especially if you're not like someone who have a lot of money and things of that nature, your kids, they don't have that sense of entitlement. Okay, our kids gonna have that sense of entitlement in a righteous manner, that they know they're gonna come into substance and they're gonna rise into power and rule in righteousness, man. Okay, because like I said, if you take the Queen of England great grands, they're gonna have a sense of entitlement. They're not gonna maneuver like certain children out here that's born in the hood. Okay, they're gonna have a sense of entitlement that when they say they want that for Christmas, they're getting it. Okay, when they say they want something, they're getting it. All right, they're gonna have a sense of entitlement when they get older. I'm a princess. I'm a prince. So you're gonna do that for me. I want you to cook that food. I want you to go get those clothes. Okay, you're gonna do that for me. See. Whereas our kids know to do things for themselves. They're bred to be independent. Well, those kids are bred to be independent in a different way, in a rulership type of a way. Okay? But see, in the kingdom, our children are going to be having that ruling class mentality from youth on up. See? And this is the good news, y'all. All right, so I just wanted to bring that out. Lord willing, it was uplifting. It was a spirit booster. It was edifying. Until the next lesson, Shalom.